Okay. All right. So once again, shalom, everybody. Bruchim habaim. Welcome. So good to be together for exploration of the Psalms and our mindful moments that we're privileged to have together in our Zoomiverse, in our sacred space that we create on Tuesday mornings and on replay whenever you want. So today we're going to be looking at Psalm 95, and that's why today we started our session with that beautiful music from the congregation Nashuva. I believe they're out in we always say out in California. I think if you're in California, you don't say out in California. That's how you know I'm from New York. So our blessings and prayers for all of our good friends. Oops, some comments with my screen. Hold on, sorry. I lost you. Very strange. My Zoom completely, yeah, that was weird. Okay. Must be something I said. So our thoughts and prayers to our friends in California, and I see some of our Californians are here today in this shared space. So thoughts and prayers to you for safety and security. Our prayers today are with the hostages and their families who've been released, and for those who are still not home, we pray that every single one of them will be home, and we pray for peace in the region. And we pray for peace in the world. We pray for peace in our own hometowns. And we pray for peace in our hearts. And with that, let's go ahead and get started today with our exploration of Psalm 95. Okay, put it down for us so we can look at it together. And I'm going to find it. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I kind of lost it along the way. So right, talk amongst yourselves. Continue to put your prayers, hopes, wishes into the chat. Let us know where you're from. And we'll keep this party going with Psalm 95. I have it here now. Wendy will continue to post the link in the chat for you to grab at your convenience. And here we go. All right, so today, for those of you who came in a little later, you missed our music party. But at the end of the source sheet today, I've included for you several variations of this psalm. Why? Why are there musical settings? Because Psalm 95 is the beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat. So that is very exciting. That so many of us will be familiar with the psalm. So it opens L'chuna ranana l'Adonai naria letzor yisheinu nekad mafana v'toda v'zmirot naria lo. That's the setting that we use for Kabbalat Shabbat, for the Friday night service where we welcome the Sabbath. And that was the particular setting of Karlebach, but there are so many, and I'm not going to sing them all for you. Take a look at the English here. So it opens up, come, let us sing joyously to God. Let's sing joyously to God. What a beautiful way to begin a study session, a prayer service, or even to set an intention for the day. So I'm going to be flip-flopping a little bit in our conversation to set this psalm up, that I want you to keep in mind that the Psalms are for eternity. They're forever and they're for now, but they also, some of them have a liturgical place. And so this one is a welcoming song for Shabbat. So I want to keep that in mind as we move through the psalm. We won't look at every single word because we won't have time. I just want us to look at a few selections and give us a sense of the flow of the psalm. So it opens with these words, L'chuna ranana l'Adonai, come, let us sing joyously, but let's be specific here. L'chuna ranana, come, let us sing to God, to the spirit, to the divine. Remember, anytime I'm saying God, that's too small of a word. Okay. I just learned this from one of my teachers, one of my son's teachers, Rabbi David Aaron, who says God is just such a little word for such a big idea. All right. So if I'm saying God, just think bigger, think bigger. Okay. Think more flowy. All right. Find your word, find your way in. But this is really great here because we're saying, come, like it's something interactive is going on here. Come, bring your friends, right? This is not a solo activity of singing to the one. Naria, let's sing out to whom? Litzur Yishenu. Tsur means rock, to the rock of our salvation. Think about that. I'd like us to really interact on this idea for just a moment. We brought it up before, but what is the rock? All right, I don't mean, the actor, the rock. Okay, what does to say that God is a rock? We're not saying that God is a rock, but that God has these rock-like qualities. So could we please populate the chat with this idea of what resonates for you when you're like, let's go sing to the rock. What is the rockiness, not in the negative way, in the positive way, of divinity in our lives? What does that look like, and what does that feel like to say that the divine is rock like? Okay, so it could be solid, thank you, immovable, yes, steady, stable, yes, secure, yes, right, strength, yes. All right, strong. So continuing, just thinking about that as we continue on here, right? Reliable foundation, bedrock. All right. So this divinity that we're singing to, that we're opening up our day today to rejoice, is not just is not is so many things, right? It is the flowing energy of the universe, which at the same time is solid in a way, right? In the sense of dependable, present with us, immovable, right? Moving and immovable. Right? So working with that image to see and just kind of like digging into that for ourselves a little bit, right? That's this metaphor here of the name of God, which it is a name of God who is also our salvation, meaning that's a big word there, of the one who will carry us out. Right? And in our weekly Torah portion, we're focusing on Shemot, on the story of the Exodus from Egypt, which we are reminded of every day in our traditional liturgy, and we are reminded of hour by hour, minute to minute, that we are in co-creation of a life of freedom. We are each in co-creation of a life of freedom, God willing, for ourselves, for our loved ones, and for all who need it in this world. So continuing on, the psalm is in two parts. I'll go back to the English for those who like to use that part. Will reference the Hebrew. So this whole first part, verses 1-7, sing joyously, raise a shout to God, right? Shout to the divinity, to the sovereign of all divine beings. I'm going to give you a little nugget today, another one, verse 3 here. Ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, because this God that we're singing to, the psalmist says, is the king, the sovereign, the great, big one of all the divinities, right? Just like a side note here, a recognition that there are all these, there's an acknowledgement in biblical thought that continues to today, that there's the king God, and then there are these other gods that are operating. Just to keep that in mind, that yes, we talk about the unity of all of divinity, of all source, of all God, and yet and us also contained within that, and at the same time an acknowledgement, right, that there are these like a sub kind of these sub divinities, or that there's different workings going on. Just to keep that in mind, for take it or leave it. Okay, so verse 4, in God's hands are the depths of the earth. So here now we're moving our consciousness into, what is this great God do? What is this rock, this salvation, this force, this energy? What does it do? How does it help us? Well, if you can't access the idea of rock right now, if you can't access the idea of that greatness, of the vastness, of the flowiness, well, here, try this on. That the hand of this divinity is in all that we see in nature, in mountains, in the sea, that the divinity, that force carved these mountains that some of us are lucky enough to look out our windows to see, but the trees and the birds and the waters and the seas, that hand of divinity is in all of creation. So if nothing else works, if you're looking for connection, if you're looking for sourcing, okay, if you're looking for sourcing in the way that you would like to come into spiritual consciousness, look no further than nature around us, in us. Take a look at a bee, just one bee doing its thing, okay? One fly. Some people can't stand flies. I can understand why. Just look at the intricacy of every single created being. Kind of amazing. All right. So then we move from this this idea of the vastness and the greatness and to go out and sing. We move here to a piece of text in the second part of the psalm, which is check yourselves, folks. Check yourselves in your humility. Check yourself in your attitude. Right? The first thing that happened when we were brought out of Egypt is we started to complain right away, straight away, complaining. Straight away, there's no water. Straight away, we don't like the food. Straight away, who are you, Moses, to lead us, right? Straight away, we don't know what we're doing. And so we're going to complain. And that separation that we experienced, right, that we created for ourselves of like, I'm alone and I don't like what's going on and I don't like what's happening around me, created a barrier between us and the divine. And so God is cautioning, or the psalmist is quoting this idea to as a cautionary tale, right? There were times in the wilderness that were troubling, that we didn't do our best, that we didn't rise up, that we weren't acknowledging the vastness and the greatness and the nature, that we were very small-minded. Don't do that. Don't do that, the psalmist is saying. So really those are the two parts of the psalm, okay? And then we have some takeaways, right, that I want to bring to your attention, and we'll bring this into our meditation for the remainder of our time. So the first takeaway is to worship, which is a big word, So I want to change that word, and I will, to acknowledge, right? To acknowledge with joy and reverence, to connect with joy and reverence. Okay, acknowledging the greatness and the vastness of all aspects of our lives and the way we see God in our lives. Guard against spiritual hardness. Guard against spiritual, keep that heart open, keep the heart open, and recognizing some sense of authority and love. And if those words don't feel right to you today, then ditch them and come up with your own connection, your own sense of awareness and connection, I think are better words for us this morning. So I'd like to take us into a mindful meditation, and I'm going to stop the share so we can work through this together, and then just a reminder, at the end of our time today, we'll pause the recording and we'll take some comments, questions, and any other deep dive that you'd like to take into the psalm. So bringing these ideas into our present moment, finding your feet connected to the ground to begin, start our meditation. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Take a few moments to settle in, find a comfortable seated position. Many of us are seated, but you could always be walking, laying down, whatever's right for you right now. Closing your eyes, connecting to the breath, or a soft, gentle gaze. Focus on feeling the breath as it enters and leaves your body. Another grounding exercise is feeling the sensation of your hands wherever they lay. Maybe feeling connection between palm and your leg or a chair or table. Feeling connection of feet to floor. In your mind's eye, seeing the vastness of the earth around you, depths of ocean, towering mountains. The intricacy of a flower, a blade of grass. Take yourself to the mountain view of seeing all complexity of this creation. The snowfall, the bitter cold, the rain, the warmth, the breeze are all part of this design. Opening your awareness to the idea that this is all created. A divine hand through a divine word. And it is our great privilege to be here at this time, to be part of it. See your own self in the grandeur of creation. Gently bring your attention to your heart. Ask yourself, am I open to the divine voice today? Am I open to the divine voice today? Listen in for that quiet calling, soothing presence. Notice if any separation begins to arise. If the mind goes to disappointments or fear or stubbornness, that creates separation Imagine the spaciousness of divinity, of grandeur, softening the hard parts of our hearts, fusing together the separateness into the endless flow of divine love. Noticing any shift in energy and physicality when you allow yourself to let go of separateness just a little more. Taking these next few breaths to open up to the Shabbat or the Sabbath of this present moment. Shabbat on a Tuesday, an oasis of rest, of calm, of peace, joy, and rejoicing. Bringing gratitude for the moment that we have, for our ability to let go of worry and tension, even for just a moment. Taking these next few moments for your own personal gratitude. Nehuneranana Ladonai Nariya Itzor Hishenu Nikat Mafanav B'todah V'zmirot Narialon. Beginning to bring our awareness back to our shared space, concluding with a prayer of peace and wholeness and healing for ourselves and our loved ones, for those who most need it right now, for the earth itself. If you'd like to place hand over heart and hand over hand, as we conclude with the word shalom 3 times together. Shalom. 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 Peace be upon you. This concludes our meditation for today. We'll stop.